This weather trends graphic I've made for you on screen indicates that the next several days will be active across the US with a stormy pattern. This video has the details on the stormy pattern as well as a look at temperature trends ahead. Before I move on, here's a quick reminder that the Weather Bell model maps I use in my videos are available to you with the free trial link below. You can sign up for that as well as the paid subscription using that link in the description. Just as I did in the last video, I'm going to start today's update with an overview of how the atmospheric pattern in the coming days will affect what occurs down at the surface. As of the time I'm recording this video on our Thursday, June 12th in the evening, there is a low pressure system increasing jet stream energy in some parts of the southern US. As that continues flowing east, as I noted in the last update, that will increase storm chances further east into the weekend. In addition to that, we will also have to be tracking the jet stream energy consistently moving across the northern tier. Here's how that's going to play out as we go through Friday and into the Saturday time frame. There's your energy moving into some parts of the eastern US, between the low pressure system in the mid and upper levels moving into the southeast, as well as some of the jet stream energy already existing further into the northeast US. Those zones will have elevated storm chances, particularly the further south you go with more moisture, at least out of Friday into Saturday. Further back to the north and west, there will also be some increased storm chances as a result of this stronger jet stream flow, with a trough moving out of parts of the western US and into the north central plains. A trough is a stronger piece of jet stream energy moving through. You can see some of that energy moving through Idaho and Montana out of Saturday into Sunday, and then eventually even pushing over into parts of the upper Midwest. That will help in sparking storms along into the south of that area, as we will see a lot of ingredients being pulled to the north. A similar pattern as to what we're going to see through this weekend should continue even into next week, with generally the northern U.S. having a good bit of jet stream energy and some active weather, as well as the southeastern and southern U.S. continuing to watch some storms as a result of weaker areas of jet stream energy. Let's now take a look at how those jet stream areas, as well as just a generally hot and humid summer weather pattern, will affect our future radar and who sees storms in the coming days. Here's a look at the future radar as we go into our Friday, June 13th first, where as we go into the afternoon and evening hours, there will be at least isolated storm coverage possible from parts of the north central U.S., even back into the northwest, and then all the way down towards the southeast U.S., including the Florida region. The two main zones that are going to have to watch the best chances for showers and storms, though, will be down in the lower Mississippi Valley and into the southeast, where we will have that mid to upper level piece of jet stream energy and low pressure moving through. Scattered to widespread thunderstorm development can be expected there, particularly through the peak daytime heating after about 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Further back to the north and west in Montana and the high plains, as we see some of that stronger jet stream energy working through parts of the Intermountain West. On the east side of that energy, that's where we're going to get the better chance for some stronger storms at times late on Friday into Friday night, and the better chance for some of that activity will shift a little further east into the north central plains out of late Saturday and into this time frame, which is into our early Sunday morning. In addition to that, late Saturday, Saturday night, with generally weak to moderate jet stream energy moving through parts of the eastern U.S., more of those zones will have to watch an active pattern from the lower Mississippi Valley up to the northeast U.S. and in points in between. At least isolated storm coverage looks possible through our late Saturday. As we go beyond Saturday night and early Sunday morning and into the deeper afternoon hours of our Sunday, once again, some parts of the southeastern quadrant of the U.S. will light up with some storms, and then as we go later through Sunday and into Sunday night, some storms will fire on up back through the high plains and upper Midwest, while those will be the highest concentration zones once again even into Monday as a result of continuous energy and the jet stream. Even in the Midwest, the Great Lakes, some parts of the Northeast, spotty storms could be possible day by day as a result of our hot and humid pattern and at least some weak energy moving through. This is not an extremely atrocious or unusual pattern for anyone by any stretch of the imagination. This is just what heat, humidity, and a little bit of jet stream energy to fuel that does. In the summer, we'll continue to watch an active pattern, maybe shifting into places like the Great Lakes even more by the Tuesday time frame, for example. That'll probably be a topic for a video I'll post this weekend. Let's now focus in with a little more detail on some of the severe weather and flooding threats set to move through over the next few days. While this severe storm outlook doesn't look too significant for most of the U.S., with just a general thunderstorm risk for millions on our Friday, June 13th, Friday and Friday night does have a severe weather risk of level 1 out of 5, as well as a level 2 of 5 in the peak part of the risk zone in parts of the high plains in particular. In that thin corridor from parts of Montana, stretching down through eastern Wyoming, southwestern South Dakota, parts of Nebraska, eastern Colorado, western Kansas, western Oklahoma, and west Texas, there is going to be the possibility for damaging winds, some scattered and large hail of 1 to 2.5 inches in diameter, as well as even a couple of tornadoes here and there, with some daytime heating-induced storms late on our Friday. The risk zone won't change much for our Saturday and Saturday night. In fact, I'm sure there will be a level 2 of 5 for someone in the plains or high plains region by the time the actual Saturday time frame comes around. As of the time of this video, there's just a level 1 of 5 marginal risk for now, but it does include millions of Americans, so be on the lookout if you're especially in the dark green. To dive deeper into zones that will have the better chances for flooding, here's a look at the 24-hour precipitation increment graphic from the Weather Prediction Center. I'm going to play this out into the coming days. The first time frame is going to be through late Friday into the early Saturday time frame. Notice that especially in some parts of the deep south and the southeast, stretching even further up into the Ohio Valley with some of that mid to upper level low pressure, we could get at least some flooding as a result of some locally higher rain totals over an inch or two. Once we get deeper through this weekend into next week, there will be some higher concentration zones that will need more concern, though. That's going to be getting down into parts of the southern Appalachians, the lower Mississippi Valley, and extending all the way over into the mid-Atlantic, where we will be closer to that stronger jet stream energy. And then I'm back on over into the central and north central plains. At least some isolated flooding could come out of the downpours that exceed half an inch or an inch. And I think the north-central U.S. will become a hotspot for flooding as we go deeper through next week as well. I now want to focus in on some temperature trends for the end part of this video, starting with the late week time frame. You can see that in general, especially the Mountain West is going to have warmer than average temperatures. In the deeper oranges and reds in Idaho, Montana, Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado, some temperatures could be upwards of 10 to 15 degrees above average. As we see the jet stream really being pushed north, our trough that is going to help in supporting any severe weather in the high plains will be stretching all the way out of Oregon and Washington and into some parts of south central Canada. That is very far north for the jet stream this time of the year. That is why warmer conditions are going to be spreading northbound. In addition to that, you can also clearly make out where a cold front will be from the Midwest over to the Mid-Atlantic as we finish this week. South of that boundary, temperatures will be slightly above average. That will include some parts of Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, and all the way down to the Carolinas. Further northbound, there will be some cooler than average temperatures, especially in the upper Midwest. Some of those values there could be around 10 to 15 degrees below average. Things won't shift much, as the jet stream won't shift much in its overall tendencies through this weekend. Warmer than average temperatures will continue to dominate a lot of the west and try to also jet out into the central plains. A lot of the northeastern quadrant of the country will be around to below average in terms of temperatures, though. By Monday and into the early to mid part of next week, warmer than average temperatures might start to dominate more zones. Again, next week's pattern will be a little bit more of a topic for a future video as we'll dive deeper into that time frame, of course. With that being said, I want to now close out this video with a quick look at how the actual anomalies will look in terms of temperatures in the next few days across the United States. You can see where we are going to be well below average in terms of temperatures into our Friday. In fact, the National Digital Forecast Database is indicating that temperatures will be so far below average that we will have record cold highs out of northeastern South Dakota, stretching all the way over through parts of northern Michigan and in points in between. We will have 50s for high temperatures. That is well below the 70s and 80s that are average for this zone for a day like Friday, June 13th. Just south of there, though, in central Iowa, temperatures will be around to above average, as I just mentioned, mid-80s. That's what that looks like in a place like Des Moines. Back down into the southern and southeastern U.S., lots of 90s, and of course, it's that daytime heating with temperatures around 88 or 87 at the minimum. That's really going to help in supporting your afternoon thunderstorms in abundance in those zones. Back over to the southwest U.S., plenty of triple-digit heat to go around in the lowest valleys. And of course, even as you go on up in elevation a little bit, plenty of 80s and 90s to go around further up through Nevada, Utah, even into some parts of southern Idaho. Out of Friday into Saturday will be another warm one, especially centered on some parts of the southern and southwestern U.S. There's that push of a warmth northward towards where the jet stream will be in the northern U.S. Plenty of 80s and 90s in the western valleys once again on our Saturday. 90s for a lot of the central plains. All the way on up as far north as parts of South Dakota, we will be around 90 degrees. What about the southeastern U.S.? A broad field of mixed bag weather where we're going to have partly cloudy skies at times. Some conditions will be stormy at times. I think highs might not be exactly what your number reads as a result of that variable weather, but in general, around 80 to 90 degrees will be where temperatures will sit in the peak heating of the day for a lot of this circled zone. Out of Saturday into Sunday, more warmth, more warmth, more warmth. With that being said, that's all for today's video. I'll likely be back again on Saturday with another update, so I look forward to catching you then if you tune on in. Of course, it will be easier for you to tune in if you hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications if you have not already. With that being said, God bless you everyone, and I'll see you in the next one.
One nation weather.